I am so excited because I am going to Finland in a few short weeks, and I'm really looking forward to trying some of my favorite Finnish foods that some of them I haven't had in a really long time. I'm going to share with you at least 10 of these foods, and they're so unique to Finland. Let's do that, but I'm going to go outside also right now. I'm going to go check on my no-dig garden, and I haven't been out here or up there for quite a bit of time. I want to go have a look and see what I have to do. Okay, that no-dig garden is a bit of an embarrassment, but in my defense, we had snow last weekend. First one on the list is Karjalanpiirakka. The filling is usually a rice-type porridge. Sometimes it's potato. I know what you're thinking. How can that possibly be good? My mother and my mom used to make, and I haven't had it since, unless I buy it at the church bake sale at the Finnish church, when the ladies sell the stuff, and then I buy some. And they serve it with a munavoi. Munavoi is just mashed up eggs. They probably put butter in there too, but I don't have that. So because I'm plant-based, a lot of these things I won't be eating anymore, but I've eaten all the stuff when I was younger, and all of this was homemade. I will be looking for plant-based versions, vegan versions of these items, and I'm sure when I've looked online, there are some places that are serving vegan options. Now, Karjalanpiirakka, that in itself can be very easily made, and I made vegan, and I actually want to make some of those because really the rice porridge inside, you can use a plant-based milk, and then the actual dough does not require any animal products. Number 2 is Lihapiirakka. My mummo made the best Lihapiirakka. Basically, it's just a dough with this meat mixture with some vegetables inside. It's a yeasted dough, and then they're fried. So of course that's going to be good. And I think those are still sold. It's like a fast food in Finland, but we will see. Rahkapiirakka. Rahkapiirakka, I don't even know how to explain it to you. My mom made the best one. So I had to look it up because it almost has like a cheesy, almost like if you had a New York style cheesecake, a piece of that kind of smeared on the pie crust, and then you can put blueberries on it, because the other version is Mustikkapiirakka, because my mom made the Mustikkapiirakka, which is blueberry pie, but it had that layer of cheesiness underneath, and the only thing I can think of when I looked up what that would be was like quark, fermented type of dairy thing. I'm not sure if I will be able to find that vegan, but it's so delicious because it's not overly sweet. It's like just fresh berries on there, and then this kind of a savory, cheesy, cheesecakey style layer, and then the crust. It was delicious. Other one that I've had a lot, number 4, is Korvapuusti. That is basically the cinnamon buns, and I've made those many times. It's pulla dough, which is a cardamom sweetbread, rolled out, and then you put layers of cinnamon and butter inside. Some people put raisins, I prefer not to. And those are traditional Finnish kind of foods, and I have made them many times. They don't look as good, but I see them all over Instagram. So Finland really is selling Korvapuusti a lot in all the coffee shops. Makaronilaatikko is something that I make all the time, and I veganized it. You can have it the basic version. It's a macaroni casserole. Makaronilaatikko. Macaroni means macaroni. Laatikko is box. So it's translated into English, it's a casserole. It's a basic macaroni casserole, and you traditionally make it with egg and milk, and it makes a custardy layer, and then my mom used to put some breadcrumbs on top. She made it plain like that, and it was delicious. We loved it. Sometimes she would add ground beef to it and onions, and it was even more, delicious. Those items I actually do make at home a lot because it's like a good comfort food. Maksalaatikko. So this is another one. Maksa is liver, and laatikko is the box. Liver casserole. I know it sounds disgusting and I would never eat it now, but my mom did make it very good. They would buy liver, grind it up, or ground liver, just thinking about it now makes me sick, is used inside this casserole. And now I'm trying to think, what is it? Oh, rice and liver casserole, basically. And I think she added raisins, and I actually loved it. I did like it when I was growing up and my mom made it. Okay, here's the Finnish delicacies. This is stuff I make. This is liver casserole. I made this at home. It's Lihapiirakka. That's macaroni casserole with meat in it. Karjalanpaisti. This is another one that my mummo made the best because my grandfather came from the area called Karjala. So Karjalanpaisti is Karelian stew. It's a very meaty dish, and I'm not sure what meats my grandmother put in it, but it bakes in the oven in a very kind of a savory broth with some potatoes and I don't even remember onions, but the meat is so tender it just fell apart. And the gravy, it wasn't even gravy, it was clear like a broth. It was so delicious over potatoes, and that's what we usually had it with. But she made the best Karjalanpaisti, and I have not made that since I've become vegan, but I could never quite get it to the taste that she was able to make it. It's a very meaty kind of a traditional food in the area of Karjala that they ate a lot. And I actually wrote a blog post about that because that area of Finland also had a lot of heart disease till this guy came along and just wanted to add some vegetables to the diet because and that improved things a lot in that area. I have actually a website with a blog post about it, so you can check it out if you're interested. I will link it in the bottom. Ruisleipä. Ruisleipä is rye bread. Unlike the rye bread here, there is a bakery that has a Finnish recipe and they make traditional rye. They actually serve it, it's made in this round form with a hole in the middle. Rye is one of those grains that is very hardy, and I remember reading it resisted mold. Finland was a very poor country. It was always battling Sweden and Russia, trying to, for independence. Rye is one of those grains that grows in not the best soils, so it was very abundant, and they made ruisleipä. The rye bread is more like almost like a sour type of bread, like a sourdough bread. Rye, it's got this taste to it that's unlike any bread here. When my mom made it, it's the best, and my grandmother made it. But I have bought it in a bakery, like I said, that was very close to what it's like in Finland, and I'm looking forward to eating open-faced sandwiches with my ruisleipä. Lohikeitto. That is something my mom used to make. So it's a salmon soup, and it's got chunks of salmon, and it's like a milky, brothy. It's not a thick stew or anything like that. Lohi is salmon in Finnish, and keitto would be like a pot. So it's a lohikeitto, a salmon soup, and it's very traditional. Several years ago when I went with my husband, he had it and he really enjoyed it because they sell it to you in restaurants and not coffee shops, but bakeries and things where they serve a little bit of food. Mustikkapiirakka, I already mentioned. It's the blueberry pie. It's not like the pies here in North America that are overly sweet. You actually taste the blueberries and they seem fresh, and they're like sometimes they would add that layer of that cheesy kind of layer underneath there. Viili. I have never had viili here. Viili is a fermented yogurt that is not kefir, but apparently it's close to it. It's a mesophilic fermented milk product found in the Nordic countries, particularly in Finland. Close to kefir, but when left unmixed, it's a texture that's all on its own. So my grandmother, when she used to visit us here when she was still alive, she'd bring the starter for Viili because it's one of those things you have to pass along and grow. Can't even explain the taste to you. It's like not like sour cream, not yet like your yogurt. It's not sweet, and sometimes we put some sugar on top and eat it. Everybody had that because I think it's also because it's a fermented food, it's good for your gut. But it's very traditional Finnish. I grew up eating that. Never had it here, except when my mummo was still alive and she used to make it. And the last thing I have is kahvi. Kahvi. Finland is one of the largest coffee drinkers of all the world, average on 3 cups of coffee a day. So I'm really interested in trying again the coffee there because coffee is a tradition, it's a culture. You go over to somebody's house for coffee, they always have some sandwiches or some pulla, something to offer when you have coming over for kahvi. And it's very, very Finnish thing. And I think in Finland and Sweden they call it fika, something like that. But kahvi aika is very Finnish, and after any kind of a get together, there's always kahvi. Those are the things I'm kind of looking forward to trying. There's many more, and I'm sure I'll find other things. But if you want to follow along when I go to Finland, subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be doing a lot of videos about Finland and the foods there and the culture there and all kinds of things. So have a great week. Stay healthy. Bye.